What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Reacts to the Suicide Squad. I'm your host, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/producer, Nick Scarpino. Over here, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
What's him host? How you feeling, Greg?
Oh, man, how am I feeling, Tim? It's just... This is the one I thought had the chance. That it had the chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know Batman v Superman. We're not going to retread all this stuff. An acquired taste, maybe. People like it.
Not allowing you to say that.
People like it.
Nope.
Yes, people do like that movie. I'm not alone in liking it.
People like this movie too, Greg.
They won't, though. That's the thing. They won't like this movie.
All right.
Yes, people right now are saying they enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. If you ever watched a Kind of Funny Vids spoiler cast thing when we do for these things for the spoiler, the first part is spoiler free. So it's spoiler free here in the beginning, and when we're gonna go spoil the movie, we'll get into spoilers. I don't feel like pulling punches on this shit. Tim, what did you think of Suicide Squad spoiler free?
It was a bad movie. You know, it was really bad. My biggest critique of it is that all the things that I thought I would like from the movie, I didn't like.
Okay.
Except for the Joker. I thought the Joker was good.
Okay.
And I expected to like him.
Yeah.
As well. Once you get used to it, like when we first saw the images, I wasn't sold, but I was also like, I'll give it to him.
Sure.
Cool. Different take on the character. I like the kind of gangsta vibe that he has going.
Yeah. I like that he was kind of crime bossy there in a way.
Yeah, it was cool. Not enough of him.
Yeah, 100%.
What we saw was cool. What we saw of him didn't really make sense, but whatever. I thought him as a character was cool. Harley didn't. I thought I wanted to like her. Didn't. I liked looking at her. She was real pretty. She looked real good. That was perfect.
A lot of camera shots were framed a very specific way.
Exactly. I think they nailed it. The thing with me with the Harley idea is that the Harley they're going for, right, is kind of playing a character almost like a porn star acts in a porno, where it's like, I am over-sexualized and yeah, I'm acting, but I'm really just kind of being sexy. And that's what she does. And I think she did a really good job of that.
Yeah.
But I didn't like how her character was entirely one-liners for trailers and one-liners like to sell the action figure. And it was just like, it more often than not, her stuff fell flat. Gotcha. But the biggest insult to me was the idea of the music and the style of it and the colors and the tones. Man, it missed the mark. Yeah. I feel there was so many songs that when they came on, you could tell the intention of it was like, yeah, people are going to like this. This is going to fit. Yeah. And it does not fit at all. Yeah.
It was weird that they used so many of the songs from the trailers and the released footage and in the same spots and stuff. Like when they went to Harley for the first time when she's like in the Cirque du Soleil thing. It's like, this seems weird.
It was technically a different version of the song.
But you know what I mean? Like it all felt so familiar, but not in a good way, and it all felt jammed in there and stuff. Yeah, like for me, and I am the DC fanboy or whatever. Like this is a movie I don't want to see again. I don't find it redeeming. Like this is the one when I'm like, it wasn't as bad as Green Lantern, but I don't think it's that much higher than Green Lantern. Where I'm like, Green Lantern was the same thing. I remember leaving like, we were fighting fog and this is what's happening. This was dumb and what's going on. There was a few funny one-liners in there and stuff, but like, overall, this is better than that. Don't get me wrong, but it's the same thing. I'm just like, there were no stakes in this movie. There were no stakes. And one of the things I know we've talked about Ghostbusters, I think, there were no rules. And the rules they set up, they immediately ignored and they didn't make any sense. And then there was no character development. Somebody on Twitter before we went and saw the movie who had already seen it had tweeted out or retweeted someone saying that what would have been awesome was if they had done a Netflix style thing where they gave each character in the Suicide Squad an hour-long show or a 45-minute show, whatever you want to do. That is all of them, and you get their backstory, so you know more about them. Yeah. Because without that, we got this movie, and then it was just like, we're shoving people in to make you care. I kept leaning over to you and going, now I care about him, because clearly this was like the moment where I was supposed to be like, oh, now I understand why this person's like this.
And that was another issue I had, is you saying that the movie didn't have rules. I agree with that. I also think it didn't have any rules in terms of pacing. I feel like there was no balance in terms of the characters. There was a whole bunch of characters. Some of them got backstory and character development, which was the most forced writing I've seen in a comic book movie in a long time. And that says a lot, because a lot of the times it is kind of generic stuff. But this was literally, it kind of went back to they're good because they have kids.
Yeah,
you know,
they have families, and this
multiple
is happening.
characters.
There's
like,
multiple shakeups,
and back to back to back, like to the point where I was like, "Wow, this feels like a joke. This feels like a parody."
Yeah,
you know. And
paint by numbers on why you make in a movie how you make somebody care about somebody.
But then it's like, all right, here's backstory. But then we're not going to give these other.
No, these other guys don't need anything.
Not
That's
at all.
fine. Don't worry about it.
They're going to be in the movie just as much.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man.
Nick, spoiler freeze.
Yeah, no, I think the movie felt rushed. I think it felt not complete. I think you can tell that a lot of the stylistic aspects of the intro and how the characters kind of came together, and just a lot of the things that added the sort of pop and color to it were added later. I don't think that was probably. I'm not sure if that was. It just felt kind of shoehorned in. And you can. I mean, this is one of those instances where this production has been. It's no secret that this production has been rushed, right? They have a notoriously short production timeline, and you can tell that it suffered from that. You can tell that they didn't probably give David Ayer enough time to really develop this, because I think they're still trying to play catch up. A lot of the elements are there. They're just, like you said, they just fall flat. Specifically, the character of Harley Quinn, who I don't know if that character, if done justice, can actually be a lead character. Yeah. And that's my only problem, is that I think Margot Robbie had great moments, and I think those would have been awesome to see if that Harley Quinn character were still the sidekick to the Joker. I just don't think she either has to go all crazy, all in, right? And in that case, I don't want to watch that for 2 hours as a lead that I'm supposed to sympathize with. Or we got to see little dashes, like little bits of her here and there. Will Smith, on the other hand, can carry any film because he's Will Smith. Mm-hmm. And so I thought of the times that I laughed, which were very few, a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you and I actually yucked it up a bit. I thought a fair share in the first half of the movie.
Right.
Nah, first third of the movie.
But
I'll get to when
we get to spoilers, we can talk more specifics. But I thought Will Smith did a good job of actually carrying the film, and it was a heavy load because he had a lot of carrying to do. But then you have to remember that, like, this is Will Smith, right? This is the same guy that gave us Men in Black and Independence Day and all these amazing films that, were it not for him, probably would not have worked.
Yeah.
And so I can't even imagine what this film would have been without him.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, though. He was Will Smith in this movie.
He totally was, but
yeah, can we just get into spoilers? Because I want to talk more. I want to talk to that point or whatever.
Sure.
So this is the spoiler-free part is about to end. Before that, would you recommend people see this, Tim?
No.
I would recommend you do not see this movie.
I would recommend you don't see it either.
I don't think like I said, a huge DC fan, as you all know. I just don't think you're missing much by not seeing this flick. I'm not saying don't. I mean, I know
there were fun moments.
My thing is, you don't need to.
We waited in line to see this. Granted, we waited in line for about 5 minutes because
Alamo Draft House blackout
blew up.
Great blackout of the Mission District.
So we waited in line to see it. I don't recommend seeing it. It's got fun parts. It's not 100% terrible.
Exactly. It's not atrocious.
It's not, and that's the whole thing. Is like, I've talked about this before in these movies, right? I've talked to you about doing the reacts, right? I don't like being on movie reacts because I can sit here and talk to you blue in the face about what makes a game good to great to whatever, up and amazing, all the way down to bad poor. You know what I mean? I know where that is. And with movies, I never feel like I have a great handle on that. I know Green Lantern is a bad movie, right?
Sure.
I still think Batman Superman was a fun movie that I enjoyed. Is it put together well and da-da-da? I don't know. And I'm just using this to say this. This is a movie that I'm in and I'm watching and I'm like, this isn't working. I don't know. It's not a bad movie because it's not a broken movie, but I don't know what a broken movie looks like versus what a broken game looks like. And that's why I don't like being on these, because I don't have that mindset the way you guys do.
It's just one of those movies that, and there's a lot more of these, unfortunately, than there are the opposite, that just is blah, right? It's one of those, and Marvel has them too, right? Where Marvel's got, granted, I don't think this is on the level. I think Thor Dark World was better than this, but it's another one of those movies where you kind of go in, you have a couple laughs, you see some action that doesn't really resonate with you, and you forget about it.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those movies that happened. This movie happened. I watched this, and as I was saying when we were waiting for the car, I was already forgetting things about it because I was when we're watching it and we had those laughs, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then as it started to get worse, I was like, wait a second, this is getting bad. But I enjoyed those. And I was like, wait, what did I laugh at, though? I don't even remember what I laughed at. Yeah. And then I started thinking about it in the context of, we just saw Ghostbusters 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whatever, right? And I think Ghostbusters is a better movie than this movie. I enjoyed myself at Ghostbusters more than I enjoyed Suicide Squad.
I think Ghostbusters had better moments, but it's the same concept, right? Where it's like, there really isn't a lot of, for whatever reason, whether it was timing or just the style of the film, and either of those, there's not a lot of attention really paid to the heart and soul of the film.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
And don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not saying the way I'm breaking it down in my head, right, is that okay, so let's go. Spoilers are on.
Spoilers are on. Okay.
Spoilers are happening.
You can just leave.
Colin did not.
Yeah, as you try to drag this fucking dog out, and that won't listen to you at all.
Some food.
Oh man,
we went to Hooters. Don't worry about food. We had plenty of food.
That was the
tonight
highlight of the
fucking
night.
sucked.
God smiled upon me tonight.
Oh Lord, good Lord. Yeah, that's kind of my problem with all this stuff. Is it was bad. I think it was fairly equally bad with Ghostbusters. I think I prefer this movie over Ghostbusters.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I do, because I think that there was things about this that I'm like, all right, almost.
I
With
feel like,
Ghostbusters-
so my whole thing is I feel for the first half of Ghostbusters, I was like, all right, we're not that far off the mark here. I'm enjoying these characters, and then it was the action, and it was the same thing here. Where the first third of Suicide Squad, I was like, all right, cool. Like it's not the music's weird, yeah, and we're jumping around a lot, and I don't. What is up with fucking flashing these bios for 2 seconds? I can't read all this information you're putting up there, and I want to read all of it. I want to be a part of it. Okay, whatever. And then it was like, all right, cool. Enchantress has already gone bonkers, and here comes the action. And I was like, whoa, this action doesn't look good at all. Not to mention, we're right into the final battle already? Like, we're moving into, and then we lose all sorts of context. And like, when Rick Flag brings them in, they're like, literally, we've lost control of the situation. Bring in this Task Force X. Bring them all together. All these people who literally they've asked once to be in this, and like El Diablo's like no, and everybody else is like I don't know what the fuck's happening. Bring everybody together. All right, cool. Now we're putting you in there, and it's like no sense of time. It seems like it's the same day, and then later it's like 3 days ago, a fucking Spectre or whatever the hell they called it, a special ability person went crazy. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like what?
I mean, yeah, dude, it was poorly written entirely. But like that's the thing is, I do think that there was a through line to the whole thing. It sucked, and almost all of it was. Here's why did that happen? Here's why that happened. That doesn't make sense. We said it did, so it works.
Yeah.
Whatever. At least that was
Which
all
is my
there.
whole argument.
To me,
is always,
Batman v Superman was just here's a bunch of shit all over the place.
But I don't want to do this. I don't want to. I mean, I know I brought that up, and I brought in Ghostbusters. I'd rather do a Game Over Greg show topic comparing the two. Because I mean, like the argument, I guess we're happening. The argument here, right, would be the fact that there's backstories of those characters.
This was a movie, though.
You already
That's
don't
my
care.
thing. Is this was a movie. It wasn't a good movie. But Batman v Superman was just like, it was just so many stories and it was so much setup. This, at least, it didn't have much setup. It had some, and it had enough to be like, all right, at least here's the characters you have and here's why you have them.
Sure.
And let's go with that. And I think that at least it had an identity. The problem was the identity of this movie was supposed to be Guardians. This was supposed to be their Guardians.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, Lord, no. They didn't touch on any of the things that made Guardians special.
And they totally dropped the ball in introducing magic to the DC universe, which is the problem. Why I don't like that in even the comics, DC has magic, but it's like, whatever, you get over it. It's comic books. I understand. I have to suspend my disbelief. But bringing it in to a fucking movie like this, into a universe that it seems like their whole thing has been trying to make it grounded, right? With Man of Steel, with Batman v Superman, you know what I'm saying? In terms of like, this is how we kind of make this stuff happen. Now there's just Mayan gods or whatever, and Enchantress has all these fucking abilities and can do all this amazing shit and can fucking go to Tehran or whatever, or Iran, and it wasn't where it was. Tehran, is that where she shot
Tehran,
to? And get their weapons plant and bring it back in 2 seconds or whatever. But when 7 people who don't even really have abilities, you know,
taking turns hitting them with baseball bats.
She's like gonna fucking get fisticuffs with you, and then finally go, oh right, I have powers, take all your guns, and then make you. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then it was the whole fucking problem of, all right, cool, we're already into the fight here in Midway City. This is happening. You're all getting dispatched here. You have no work group. You have no team dynamic. You have no relationships with each other. We're gonna drop you in there and do this, and then Rick Flag's dudes are like, or Rick Flag calls it in of like, we got hostiles, and Amanda Waller's like, you can't fight them. You know you can't beat them. All right, cool. Then we fight them, and we just beat the shit out of them. And it's not even like, I was like, all right, here they go, and they're gonna have to fight them, and maybe they learn they gotta take out their legs, and then the legs take a while to heal back, and then no, they're just shooting them to death. They're just shooting the things that the things we just got told can't be shot to death. They're shooting to death. Then we get later on, and they're like, remember, you can't take them out with headshots. Amanda Waller says this. Where are you getting your intel, Amanda Waller? That's all we just fucking did in a very boring action montage.
It's just that or Harley Hurricane Ronaning them. Or it's like, all right, cool.
And that's the thing. We kept getting into these fight scenes that weren't entertaining, that weren't interesting, that didn't play by any rules, and we're fighting mudmen here, and it doesn't look great. You know what I mean?
Hey, shout out though, I will say the one fight scene I thought was cool was the end of that whole sequence when it's Deadshot really being Deadshot, and he's on the car just kind of like da 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 da.
But see, what an awesome missed opportunity, right? this whole thing was it's unfortunate, really, because the idea behind the Suicide Squad is and always will be an awesome idea, right? A group of really fucking bad people who have to go do something good.
Yeah.
And they got to do it their way. How much awesomer would that scene have been if they're like, we can't go in, and he just stood on the fucking car and mowed them all down and was like, can we get about our business now?
Yeah.
Because I'm fucking dead shot.
Well, don't remember he walked into the building before everybody, so he kind of did that.
I'm just saying, it's like, and again, I don't.
By the end of the movie, they were family, Nick.
You're jumping ahead.
Friends.
You're jumping ahead. Then that's my whole fucking thing of like this thing of like you're talking about. I'm sorry. Do you want to go?
No, I mean it's just unfortunate because I think they tried. I think they tried to develop the characters as best they could. I just really think this movie could have really benefited from like another 6 to 8 to a year of development to really nail these characters down, because you had a good cast, and that was one of the things that I was really worried about going into it. I was like, I don't think this cast, judging from the trailers, it's not working, and the back and forth between them, it just didn't feel right. They had some chemistry. There was some chemistry. So I don't think it was necessarily a matter of the acting. I just think it really boiled down to, why do I care about these characters in this situation? And they unfortunately did not give me a good reason to.
And that's the whole thing of like where you're talking about it felt like a parody of itself at times. Like
entirely.
That entire third of the movie, I think, is that where it is like, okay, here's, and I can remember, that's why I'm supposed to, oh, now I care about her because she's crying. Her husband got killed. That's sort of so sad. Oh my God. Well, and then it's just like, all right, fine. We get into it, and then El Diablo's thing of like, oh, this is my family. I'm like, no, you did not earn that. You have been with these people for
half a night,
maybe 7 hours, maybe 6. You know what I mean? They yelled at you once and told you to stop being a fucking baby about killing your entire family. Not to mention how bad your effects look. Oh, you killed your entire prison yard, and they do it. And I'm like, the CW looks way better than this, and that's not a knock on the CW. I'm just saying, talk about the Flash show doing something with a budget. You have this thing, and then we show it twice. Yeah. Kevin says it might have been 3 times. We see it multiple times. Yeah, no. This fire attack that does not look good.
Yeah, it was.
And then he kills his family. Kills his entire family when he gets mad at his wife. Burns the entire house down. She's in his arms, completely untouched. Was it smoke inhalation that killed her in the house?
What happened there?
Jesus
and then she kind of evaporates, and then he's playing with little fucking fire dancer.
That I thought was the dream. That was just his dream.
Yeah, I think that was just his sort of remembering.
But
what was
a
happening
shitty. That did not do a good job of telling you what was happening. The action was super hard to follow. There's a part where Killer Croc's swimming. And it's like, I was right with you. I'm like, why is he killing the guys that I thought
we're like, no, there was mud men under there. And you're like, oh, I couldn't tell.
There was a lot of things where we're like, what's happening? And then they immediately explain it and make it clear. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Viola Davis's character, when she kills all those FBI agents, there was that moment of like, okay, what's happening right now?
Clearance.
And then no, I was, whatever. She says a line to right that away. It's like, all right.
But another one of those things where it's like, why, and when they're in the super secret area, don't they have clearance? There's just so many small things that you're like, I get kind of where you're going with that, but they did a Suicide Squad animated movie. Assault on Arkham.
Assault on Arkham.
And I think they did it right there, which is that they treated the bad guys like they were bad guys. And I think that is what this movie fundamentally loses out on, right? Is the fun of watching the bad guys hanging out with each other to try to accomplish a common goal. And what I was hoping that would happen is that somewhere along the lines, one of them or all of them decided that they had an ulterior motive and that they would still be bad, and then someone would have to come in and stop them. But it turns out they're just really, really likable bad guys, which just really kind of doesn't work. It's not fun. Right. The reason why Guardians of the Galaxy was fun was because they were flawed characters getting together, hanging out.
And they had no qualms about that.
They were renegades. They owned it. These guys were quote unquote bad guys because Harley Quinn tells them us we're bad guys.
And don't forget, Will Smith said it too. Bad guys.
Right. We're bad guys.
They drove this home. Everybody that they're bad guys.
Right. They make jokes about how many people he's killed, even though this is a very deeply psychological. This is the thing that resonates so much with him in regards to his daughter that he actually gave up an opportunity to kill Batman for, but then they kind of are joking about it. It's just the whole movie was totally off. It just felt rushed. Everything felt rushed. Even the beginning of it felt rushed, where you could totally tell there's a cut out there that starts with her walking into the restaurant. That's how the movie should have started. I don't know why we chose to see Will Smith, other than that there's some fucking test audience somewhere was probably like, I want to see Will Smith first. And so they totally ruined all the suspense of the theater.
So one of the things you were talking about earlier, when we were talking about Will Smith and how he carries the film and how but he is Will Smith. That was one of my main problems with it. And it's not that I'm that guy. I feel like he was like, oh, I can't get over this. Like Jared Leto is Joker, right? He's the Joker. I wasn't hung up on that. Margot Robbie, I wasn't like, oh, she was great in The Departed. She's not having a great shot here. Will Smith looked like he was cosplaying as whatever this drawing of Deadshot is. In that outfit, it just didn't look right on him. And then he's still doing the Will Smith thing.
The outfit was weird to begin with. There were just a couple of minor choices with the whole thing. One that I don't know why I keep getting hung up on this, but the monogram on his neck was super distracting.
Because all the costuming was distracting.
Ever fully. So I was trying to remember.
I read it and I put it in the GameSpot thing.
Yeah.
And also shout out to me for fucking predicting this movie beat for beat.
Beat for fucking beat.
But there were just a lot of interesting stylistic choices. Now the things I did like about it was I liked some of the Batman parts. Like I liked the chase scene where he just kind of does the thing that Batman always does in the animated series, where he just is on the roof of the fucking
ejects
car.
out of the car and
he ejects out of the car. Is there, cool. Follows it off. Figures out, dives in. All that stuff looked really, really cool. So I am excited for the standalone Batman movie. And I liked the Joker. I really did.
Joker's
great.
I like Joker.
Liked Jared Leto as a Joker, I was not expecting to do that.
We don't know what the rumor right for the Batman film is lots of villains, him and Arkham. You assume Joker will be leading that. It'll be like Arkham Asylum, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then that's the movie I wanted to see as I'm watching this movie. Yeah. Of like, cool, put Jared Leto mano a mano with Batman and let Harley be the side character where it's not all hanging on her.
But even then, I was saying this, like, watching this movie, I feel like even a Joker and Harley movie, like that being the title, and then having Deadshot be one of the characters that's kind of like running the B plot of it. I think even that could have been really cool, minus all this other stuff. Like make it just more, have them have antagonists that they're facing, and I feel like we could have got to know those characters and enjoyed them a lot more instead of just like having a bunch of characters that are. Why was Katana in this movie?
Yeah, no, yeah. She's there to watch Rick's back. Where's your relationship with her? I don't understand that. Do you speak Japanese? Does she speak English? I'm having struggle there.
The moment where her backstory scene came out of nowhere did not feel earned at all. I'm talking about when she started crying. Her the shot of what she's doing meanwhile, like killing all these people and like, oh, you killed my father or whatever. It's like, cool, great, get that shit. But or husband, father, whatever. Husband. Who cares? Then later when she's there crying about it, it's like, what? What the fuck? Not earned at all. Doesn't need to be in this movie. Yep. So you were talking about the cut. So supposedly this is the second cut.
Yeah, there's two cuts
where
for sure.
This was cut by the people that cut the trailer. So and you can see that in the beginning of the
movie. I would love to
entirely
see David Ayer's original cut of this just to see.
He said this is it. That he's been out there saying this is it.
He's a very smart person who wants to work again in Hollywood.
Not like that Fantastic Four director.
Yeah, well, unfortunate for him. And oddly enough, if you've seen Fantastic Four, you would feel exactly the same way you feel right now after watching that. It is a very disjointed, rushed. I mean, it tells a story, but it's one of those things where you're like, this could have used a little bit more development and a little bit more thought put behind some of these characters because it is an ensemble cast. But yeah, man, it would have missed opportunity.
Yeah, that's the worst thing is that they had so many pieces on the board that I thought looked awesome. I did like Amanda Waller in this. I did like Viola Davis
though. Like nothing.
But that's who she is. I mean, that's who that character is.
Yeah, but I don't.
But then again,
Amanda Waller resorts to taking a gun out and shooting her own staff. Like, what? I get that she's hard, but she's not a fucking stone cold killer. She's someone who's manipulative and is a good strategist and will do what needs to get done. But I also don't get that she would fucking just take a gun to her own. That was just so out of place. Like, it didn't make any sense. I get that she's the kind of person that would like develop a clone of Superman one day or something like that, right? That's cool. Yeah. That's fun. But like, I lost a lot of respect for the character when she resorted to that just stupid.
I feel like they did violence. So many things to make her a badass, just to make her a badass, and just to make 100%. Her look like, well, look, the good guys are bad too, and it felt so forced, just like almost every other aspect of the movie. I feel like they had a kind of a missed opportunity. I think that's like kind of the summary of this whole movie. It was a missed opportunity,
100%.
But in terms of if they're gonna do the universe building, obviously they have so much to catch up on. You need the little knickknacks, you need the little references and the things here and there. This movie had stuff, but it was so either blatant but also subtle and hidden. Subtle's not the right word. Blatant but hidden. Like, it said Robin's name. It said Harley had to do with his murder or whatever, but it flashed for like 1 second and it went on her little introduction thing where there's no human possible way to read all that text on the screen. And then there's the Flash cameo, which I thought was cool.
Awesome.
Great to have. But besides that, what? you know?
But I guess I'm jumping to conclusions. Yeah, I'm jumping to conclusions on that, so I won't say it because I'm jumping to conclusions.
Say it? What is it?
Well, because I'm not sure. We don't know the full score.
Speculating
The
right
speculation, right, is the fact that when Bruce Wayne shows up in Flash's apartment and does the whole thing that we've seen in the Justice League footage, that costume there is supposed to be like broke ass. It's supposed to be like, and then when he teams up, he gets the nice costume that we see in the end part of the trailer. The part that we saw in the movie looked like the costume from when he set up and established in Justice League. But then that is all before, right? Because then at the end of this, the Easter egg is Bruce getting the file folder and looking through and then getting locations on everybody. So you assume that's, and granted, maybe it's not. Maybe they just, because again, we talked about this in the car a little bit. Like, it's a fat thing of paperwork, right? So it is like, all right, cool. Aquaman, Ezra Miller's Flash or whatever. Great. Maybe theoretically he's already, I don't know, but it seemed like, that didn't seem to line up. But again, I don't know. We have to watch Justice League to see what Flash's broke ass suit looks like. Because it is supposed to have plates from like the space shuttle, so maybe it isn't. I know it happened so fast, and I was just so excited to see it.
Yeah, it did happen so fast. Some would say intended. In a flash. The end,
came and went.
the post credit thing where it's like, I'm happy they had one because
finally, thank you.
Yeah, like okay, cool. Let's start building this goddamn universe. But then they just didn't give us any more information. They just told us stuff we already knew. Like, did they not realize that their company released Justice League footage? We know Batman's going to go talk to these characters. Bruce Wayne is going to go find these characters. Yeah. We already know that. Why are you telling us that again? Like, you always talk about the Marvel movies where it's like, you don't know who the fuck the twins are, or like Thanos is there, whatever. Who cares? At least that makes you ask questions.
100%. No, it makes you interested, yeah.
We knew that, guys. We knew Bruce Wayne was going to go unite the Seven, whatever the hell.
Well, apparently that's just, just about the fucking Aquaman thing. God damn it.
And great, we get to see Aquaman's face again.
Yeah.
How happy did that make you guys? I'm thrilled for these movies.
Yeah.
I'm still, and that's the thing now. I just can't. Now I'm starting to get so gun shy about everything. You know what I mean?
See, I'm not though. I'm still really optimistic about the standalone Batman movie. I really am. I'm like,
based on what though?
Who's directing it? Has that been announced?
Ben Affleck's writing it, right? Is he directing it too?
He's directing it also. I think. I heard.
I hope, but I mean, that's my whole thing. Is just like Batman landing in that alleyway. I was like, ooh,
that looked bad.
And then he's just standing there. I was like, that doesn't look good.
That looked bad. But the scene where, first off, I think a lot of the choices with the Joker were inspired. I really do. Like, I like his direction. I like that it's not. Someone sat in a room somewhere with Jared Leto and was like, how do you want to play this? And he was like, the complete opposite of Heath Ledger. However far I can get away from that is humanly possible. Like, this guy runs a criminal empire. Everyone knows who he is. He's blingy, but he has those touches of awesomeness. Like, he doesn't drive a jalopy.
He drives a Joker mobile.
He drives a fucking badass Lambo or whatever that car was, and it's bright purple. It's like a Tim Gettys special, right?
No, for sure.
At the end, he does everything with that Joker humor, right? At the end when he comes in with the SWAT vest and everyone else says just a number and his just says Joker, and it's hilarious because it's him, but then you get a shot of his chest and it's like, yeah, thank you. Like, they're having fun with this world now, and that's what it should be because it is fucking Batman and the Joker, like mano a mano, fisticuffs, right? Those moments were really, really fun for me. Seeing Batman, like the way I would like to see him, where he's actually doing stuff that Batman would do, climbing onto, like jumping onto the roof or the hood of cars, or roof of cars rather, leaping out of the way just in the nick of time,
punching women underwater.
That was great. That was so funny. It was
fucking awesome.
It was funny, right? But like, him versus a really fun, like crazy Joker, I'm excited about.
He was fun and crazy, but like, and this was kind of the difference between underutilized. But him and Harley was just she's crazy, so she's funny. Joker was crazy, but the funniness made him creepy. Like,
he was off-putting.
It was really off-putting and unsettling.
Thing, like, that was awesome.
Where it was just like, man, like, I like this a lot because it feels wrong. And the scene where he like got really up in that guy's face, it was
like when he straddled the Alpha.
Yeah. And he's like, I can tell you really meant that.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was so like good. And
also,
I was like,
shout out to that guy. Yeah, because he was the best part of the fucking movie.
Wow, Alpha was the best part of the movie.
I can't remember his name. I think I've seen him in other stuff before. I think he was in
Neighbors.
Maybe he's in Neighbors.
Oh, wait, are you talking about Joker's henchman dude, or
the guy that was like had the gambling problem?
Okay.
But I mean, that's why I'm still hopeful, right? Because I would really like to see how that's going to work out. I really want to see Jared Leto. Yeah. I'll take your word for it. I really want to see Jared Leto sink his teeth into that
100%, totally,
as the main bad guy, because he didn't quite give me the chills that, like, the first time you see the Joker walk into that random fucking backroom kitchen that they were talking in Dark Knight.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? I don't understand. But that whole scene, right? But he had a hint of it. And that's all I need, right? That's a serious, I mean, you're also talking about Jared Leto, who is at this point an Academy Award winning actor. He can bring it if he wants to. Any writer? Yeah. Did he write?
Wait, I'm sorry. You said Jared
No, Jared Leto.
Oh, sorry.
Not Ben Affleck.
Just sit there, Kevin.
Jared Leto, phenomenal actor, right? And I'm not taking anything away from Margot Robbie, but I think that he has a lot more to play with that character than Harley Quinn, especially when, again, Harley Quinn, hard character to have a lead a movie when she has historically not done that.
I mean, again, going back, I've seen porn parodies that did a better Harley than this in terms of just being the character.
Right.
She did fine. She did like great, and I did like her a lot. But yeah,
That's
she
my
could not
thing.
lead this, and she led it.
I believed in her and Jared coming in. I think Jared delivered. Her, I thought, was lukewarm on. You know what I mean? It was all one-liners, and then some of them weren't delivered all that well.
I would
I
say
don't think any
that
of them were, actually.
maybe I think it was like a 20% success rate, and 80% was just like.
But the 20%, sadly, we already saw in the trailers.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
There was
Like
there was a couple
I
things
think
you
the
didn't.
best
I
line
can't
she
name
said,
them.
which was, again, fell flat to me, and not because of her, but because of the pacing of the edit, I think, was when she was like, I'm known to be quite vexing.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
yeah.
That was a great line.
Just so you're forewarned.
Just so you're forewarned.
I think that part makes the line for me. I'm like, that's funny.
Right.
That was, I guess, that's 10%.
But that would have been amazing if that had just been her character the entire time, not leading the show, right? But I understand why they did it, because they wanted to make her a lead. They wanted to have that strong female character leading it in this cast of guys, right? It's understandable. It makes sense.
She's also the most popular
the most
of the
famous, most
Suicide
popular.
Squad.
Yeah.
Sure.
No one gives a shit about.
Thank
any of
God
them,
Killer
anyways.
Croc had so many great lines. Every time he opened his mouth, like,
You couldn't even hear what he was saying most of the time. People talk shit about Bane. Like the when he said BET at the end, I didn't know he said BET till we saw BET, and I was like, oh, that's what he said.
I liked when he took off his shirt and he looked like an old man.
I like how
He's like a
could
shriveled up
barely
old
get
man.
his shirt off. Like he was like threw it off. He's like, yeah, I'm underwater, and then kind of like crawled, and you're like, oh Jesus fucking Christ! Like,
Jesus.
like, what the fuck? Why?
Oh,
Why?
And then Rick Flag.
It was funny. I felt he was doing your Buffalo Bill impression from earlier in the night.
I just, yeah. I mean, again, that's another one of those characters that he just was not that
Interesting.
No. All right.
I was set up to love this girl. I love this girl, and now I'll do anything for this girl. All right.
And then he he's like, he crushes the heart.
He had to, and Trench just wasn't gonna give it back apparently, so he knew.
Yeah. And there also was literally a heart.
Oh, and
for the
heads
bad
up,
guy.
yeah,
the
exactly.
bad guy had a heart that was not in it.
And it was in a
What
briefcase.
the fuck?
That's why you don't put magic in this universe. You never should have put magic in this universe. What are you thinking? Don't do it.
And
it's gonna be hard enough to explain Green Lanterns if, by the way, you ever fucking get there.
Yeah.
Because I'm really.
We'll
see
see.
if this Shazam movie happens. We'll see if this Green Lantern movie ever happens.
I mean, I know we knew this from the trailers and stuff, but I cannot believe. And we've talked about this so many times about superhero movies. Why does it always need to be this world-ending cataclysmic event?
Yep.
Suicide Squad did not need that.
Did not.
Really, really didn't. It could have had something that was less blingy and like, let's blow up the skies and random aircraft carriers and stuff. But if it was something where like the world is going to end, but no one's going to know and they need to save it, that's an enticing storyline.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
this is like, there's literally this the most generic superhero thing ever. Here's a big glowing blue thing that's going into the sky.
It's got shit all around it.
Yeah.
Just like the fucking.
Just like Ghostbusters, just like
Man of
Transformers,
Steel when there's
just like Man of
terraforming and
Steel,
bringing it up.
just like Avengers,
And
just like everything.
And Kevin brought up the point in the car, of course, that makes sense and it is interesting, right? That Flash is suited and booted, and like he's out there doing superhero-y stuff now. Why wouldn't, when Midway City's under attack and there's a giant beam of fucking light and weird ass shit floating around for apparently 3 days while she casts this spell, why didn't anybody think? And I understand that's comics, don't get me wrong. But this is the whole problem. This goes back to my Killing Joke thing, where I like, and now it's fucked up to say because Marvel does it so well. Marvel's movies are awesome, right? But it is that thing of watching these movies now, and you're like, when I'm watching Killing Joke in the theater, and you're like, this isn't translating super well, and it's like, oh, I'm asking a lot of questions I didn't ask before, and it's like, huh. I love the medium, don't get me wrong, but a lot of comics are dumb. And you just have suspension of disbelief and you let it go. And when you put that on a film screen and you're like, huh, that's not working the way it should work, but it's a different bar.
This is the thing that I said for Batman v Superman, and I'll say it again for this. If I had read this comic, if this had been just a quick like 8-issue run or something like that, it wouldn't have been that bad. It would have been kind of fun. The one-liners, I would have read my own pace.
You
and
read it differently. I mean, we talked about that with Killing Joke, where it's like when things are written, they're totally consumed in a very different way
100%,
than
right.
when they're acted out, and it's just like
Your mind's playing with it. Yeah.
it takes it away, and it's just
Right.
like when you read it, it is frame by frame by frame. You fill in all the rest.
Yeah, you really do. And that's the thing with this is like and it is unfortunate because I really think that them going in the darker direction is starting to show it seems a little bit right now, right?
Well, that's why they're pulling up so hard.
It sucks, but this movie should have been so much darker and grittier and funnier and like R-rated than the rest of the movie, so it could have stood out, right? But it's not. It all kind of does feel like this kind of dark, weird, bland universe
Well, in
now,
terms of
and
the
none of the
darkness,
characters are allowed to actually be the characters they need to be.
But I think they nailed the sexuality in a way that they couldn't have ever done in any, like, Marvel can't do that, you know? And so I think the darkness is dark means a lot of different things, right? Like the mature themes and all that stuff. I feel like in some ways they did handle it really well, but they didn't handle the fun well. Like there was fun in the colors and stuff. It was very slapped on top of this.
Well,
dark
I mean,
movie.
yeah, I mean, talk about they didn't handle anything well because again, going back to your earlier point of like, why does everything have to always blow up? It sucks. You have to match your protagonist to the antagonist, right? And at no point did I ever believe that this group of characters could actually beat the Enchantress, right?
We're gonna take down
Doesn't make
Enchantress and her
any
CG fucking
sense.
brother.
Not only that, but they were like this. What should her bad guys look like? How about just dark
Eyeballs.
amorphous blobs? Like I can't think of anything they should particularly look like. So
We need
let's just
generic
have them be
thugs.
faceless and be generic. It sucks, man. It's too bad. They really. And I understand why it has to happen, right? Like everyone it has to be that escalation, that world-ending thing. But it would have been so much cooler if this were a smaller tale of them just going up against another bad guy, like another villain that was just trying to do something.
Yeah, when we originally
like-
saw it, and we thought they were going in to take down the Joker, which
Yeah.
is the assault on Arkham. Oh no,
Which-
I guess not. You know what I mean?
It's
But,
similar, yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
That storyline is really, really cool because then it would have been. I don't know. It's just the goddamn world can't come to an end that much. It just ceases to have the same emotional impact, especially when you don't set up the characters and give us a reason why we should care about them.
So that's Suicide Squad. We miss anything? Anything on tip of your tongue? Swing and a miss.
I still like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Sure. I can't say I am so, my faith is so worn down right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the fact that, like, will DC ever make a movie that's critically acclaimed that everyone can go out of and be like, that was good. That was fun.
Well, see, I don't even want to bring up the Nolan movies because DC has.
Sure. No.
DC has.
Sure. I'm sorry. Let me dial it back then. Can
This
they ever make
universe.
a DC Cinematic Universe movie?
And
that
you
does
brought
that?
this up a couple days ago that what's going to happen first?
Yeah. This is a Reddit thing. Is there
A
going to be
good DC movie or a bad Marvel movie?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I mean, I would disagree. I think some of the Marvel movies aren't great.
I know,
But,
but are
it
any
was
bad.
No. So the actual statement was from Reddit, and it was what's going to happen first: a critically acclaimed DC movie or a critically panned Marvel movie.
Oh, okay.
And that hasn't happened yet for Marvel.
That's true.
Because I mean, I agree with you. There's a couple Marvel movies that aren't great.
They just aren't, yeah, they're pointless.
But I think they're
That's the
all
point.
at least okay. All of them.
Yeah. This Reacts was brought to you by Casper. Casper is a sleep brand that created one perfect mattress sold directly to consumers, eliminating commission-driven inflated prices. Its award-winning sleep surface was developed in-house, has a sleek design, and is delivered in a small and, how did they do that, size box. In addition to the mattress, Casper also offers an adaptive pillow and soft, breathable sheets. The mattress industry has forced consumers into paying notoriously high markups. Did you know this, Tim?
I did know that.
Don't pay too much for
I don't
mattress.
like that.
Casper is revolutionizing the mattress industry by cutting the cost of dealing with the resellers and showrooms and passing the savings directly on to the consumer.
It's you.
That's you. I wanted to say on to you, but I didn't. Because, it's whatever. The Casper mattress is an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. It combines springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right amount of sink and the right amount of bounce.
You need that bounce.
You need that bounce.
The
What do you-
bounce is my favorite
What are you
part.
using that bounce for?
I don't know. A lot of things. Sleeping. I'm a big fan of sleeping.
You got to bounce in your sleep. Time Magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015, which I always crack up at usually when I read this ad read. And I'll tell you, I love that that's true.
Yeah. There you go. Time Magazine.
An award-winning mattress that won't disappoint. Free shipping and returns to the U.S. and Canada. Try Casper for 100 nights risk-free in your own home. If you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything. It's made in America, and you can get $50 towards any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/kindafunny and using the promo code kindafunny. Terms and conditions apply.
Boom. You should do that. You can sleep well. We're going to need to sleep well. We're going to need that mattress right now.
I'm going to toss
So
and
you can
turn.
just dream of what could be.
No, I'm sick of dreaming of what could be with this DC cinematic universe. And then Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are like, that trailer looked awesome. I'm like, it looked good.
Has good parts. Good
I thought the
moments.
Justice League footage looked great. But then again, how many times do I got to keep falling for this?
Yeah.
How many times do I got to keep falling for this?
Man, you know what? Oh, yeah. Oh.
And again, for anybody who's out there confused, I liked Batman v Superman. I don't think it's an excellent movie. I know everybody's problems with it, and I understand them. I enjoyed myself. I didn't enjoy myself in Suicide
Can you
Squad. That's the
please
problem.
make something clear to me?
Sure.
One final time, just as a sign off.
Sure.
Do you still stand by Batman v Superman?
Oh, Batman v Superman is a better movie than Dark Knight Rises.
I'm out.
120%. One day, they can't hear you when you move away from the mic. One day I will get enough energy inside of me to watch Dark Knight Rises again and take notes to tell you why. But I've done it. I've hovered on it on Amazon to rent it and be like,
that movie has some plot inconsistencies. It has some things that don't make sense, but it's a good movie. These other things, they don't have plot, Greg. They don't have plot. All they are is inconsistencies. I hate you.
So what's the plot of Dark Knight Rises? I hate everything. I could cause a financial crisis, but instead I'll just make an island out of this and make all the police people live on just there. And then in 6 months I'll blow it all up for no reason. Oh, what's that? You can't hear me. Fuck that movie. Why does this keep happening to me?